30 seconds right now to take out your phone, and I want you to use the hashtag Powered By Us. Take plenty of pictures this next 30 seconds and use the hashtag Powered By Us, all right? Now, last year it was like that first cookout. We're getting the grill lit, we're testing the recipes, but year 2 it means we're established. Year 2 means that nobody is a stranger anymore.
Yeah.
And for black folks, we know a truth that the rest of the world is just catching up to. Philanthropy isn't new to us. We've been pooling our resources, we've been building black wealth, and we've been lifting up our communities long before anyone gave it a fancy title. So whether it was mutual aid, cooperative economics, or just passing down hard-earned wisdom, giving is in our DNA. Now I want you to dwell on these 3 points. Nationally, black people give a higher percentage of their wealth when compared to other racial groups. 2, Memphis is a majority black city. And 3, Memphis is one of the most philanthropic cities in the country. Do I need to say that again? Nationally, black people give a higher percentage of their wealth when compared to other racial groups. 2, Memphis is a majority black city. And 3, Memphis is one of the most philanthropic cities in the country. Now I'm glad we came back to the table to pass on the wealth and the wisdom and to make sure that everybody eats. That's what today is. So we're not just sitting through presentations, we're growing our collective power. We're sharing strategies, and we're taking care of home, and we're taking care of family. And speaking of family reunions, no family reunion is complete unless your favorite uncle is in the building. To officially welcome all of you on behalf of our incredible partners with the Community Foundation of Greater Memphis, please give a warm welcome to their president and CEO, and my favorite uncle, Mr. Bob Falkland.
Thanks, I think. But thanks, Sam, and thanks again to Bridges for hosting us again this year. On behalf of the Community Foundation of Greater Memphis, good morning and welcome to this important day of learning, study, and celebration. This symposium is the brainchild and the result of the hard work of our staff, and as well as many of you. I need to particularly shout out to Ariel Azuzu and Veronica Jameson, who've been working tirelessly, literally since last August, to bring you a powerful and meaningful day of thought, reflection, and transformation. I had expected that one of them would be welcoming you right now, but they asked me as CEO to explain why we have invested so much in Black Philanthropy Month and why it is so important to the Community Foundation. That's simple. Our mission is to strengthen this community by advancing philanthropy in all its forms. And as we'll see today, this room is filled with people who have been investing to make Memphis and the Mid-South a better place, literally for decades. But at the same time, we recognize that Black philanthropy has not always been properly celebrated and recognized for the transformational effects that it has had on our city from the beginning. It's the mission of the Community Foundation to serve as a convener, to connect generosity in all of its forms, wherever it's found in our community, to the people and community solutions that will drive our community forward. And that's what this day is all about. At the same time, it's imperative for the Community Foundation to recognize that, like so many institutions in our city, our heritage is not pristine. At our founding in 1969, just after the end of the sanitation strike, our founders and our board represented the powers that controlled the city at the time. And that group was not reflective of our city. My staff will tell you that I keep a picture in my office of the board of the Community Foundation in 1976. It includes 11 white men and 1 white woman. Yeah, yes, grown. Well, that's where we came from. Since that time, we've been working to ensure that our board and our work are more representative of a city that is majority Black. That includes the observance of Black Philanthropy Month, our founding of the Black-led Nonprofit Leadership Alliance, and at this symposium last year, the founding of the Black Professional Advisors Alliance. But we need to remember that coming from our roots, the bar is particularly high for us to earn and maintain the trust of the Black community that we serve. Today, the Community Foundation is in the process of raising an initial $50 million, with hopefully more to come in the future, to endow and grow our Forever Funds. The Forever Funds fund our community-based, community-informed grant making, which Ariel and her team manage day to day. And we began that process in 2020, which is a great time to start anything, by the way. Our board approved a new vision for the Mid-South and values for investing, a set of community investment principles, developed with the participation of dozens of diverse stakeholders, many of whom are in this room this morning, that will guide the Community Foundation's discretionary grant making into the future. To begin, we stated, and I quote, "Memphis and the Mid-South comprise a diverse community that, while faced with daunting social and economic challenges, also has invaluable human and natural resources. The region faces massive challenges, including high rates of poverty and incarceration, limited access to affordable housing and quality health care, and schools which continue to struggle to educate all of our children. With a continuing history of institutional racism and inequity, these failings disproportionately affect our African American and Latinx neighbors. At the same time, we also have considerable assets. We're blessed with a rich musical heritage, a vibrant arts community, a world-class healthcare system, and more than our fair share of parklands, green spaces, and other natural resources. The Community Foundation of Greater Memphis is committed to investing in and working alongside our community to address our challenges and sustain our assets in order to create transformational change. We envision a more equitable community and pledge to make investments that will help make that vision reality," unquote. With that as a background, we adopted a powerful vision statement, and again I quote, "We will create a just and equitable region where all individuals and groups receive the resources and opportunities they need to reach their full potential." And where identity and geography do not determine their outcomes. We will build a community where everyone is welcome, valued, resourced, and informed. One where people can easily access opportunities to contribute and thrive, unquote. Like any good vision statement, that's just the beginning though. And particularly during these times where many in power want us to abandon the advances that have been made in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion, our values remain unchanged. And it is incumbent upon us to defend and advance these values. Our vision challenges us to listen more deeply today and every day and strengthen our partnerships within the community, all of the community. One of the great lessons that the foundation has learned has been that philanthropy in Memphis takes many forms, and Black communities have long invested in Memphis through generosity, leadership, faith, entrepreneurship, caregiving, and mutual support. This symposium, Give 828, and the rest of our observance of Black Philanthropy Month reflect our commitment to recognizing and celebrating the people, organizations, and traditions of generosity that have always been a part of building a stronger Memphis. So the Community Foundation is proud to help create space for these important conversations today, and thank you all for being a part of it. And now, to actually get us started, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce Veronica Jameson, the Community Foundation's Vice President of Philanthropic Services, and one of the real visionaries behind this event today. Veronica.
Thanks, Uncle Bob. Well, good morning, everyone. Sam didn't share, but let's say happy belated birthday to Sam. So, happy birthday. And Bob, thank you for that strong foundation, no pun intended. Well, it is truly wonderful to look around this room and see so many people that I know, people who believe in the power of legacy, ownership, generosity, and community. And today we are here because we believe that generational wealth is more than money. It is about what we pass down. Yes, it's the homes we own, the businesses we build, the investments we make, and the assets we protect. But it is also the values we instill, the wisdom we share, and the spirit of generosity we model for the generations coming behind us. Every August, as you've heard, the Community Foundation of Greater Memphis proudly recognizes Black Philanthropy Month, and Powered by Us is our opportunity to celebrate the many ways Black families are building wealth, creating impact, and establishing lasting legacies right here in our city. And there is no single path. Truly, there's no single path. For some, it may begin with home ownership. For others, it's investing, starting a business, preparing a will, protecting family assets, planning for retirement, or just becoming more intentional in your philanthropy. But every journey, we know, starts with a conversation. And so my purpose today is to tell you that's exactly what we are set out to do today. We want you to ask questions, share what you know, learn something new, make connections. Look around this room, so many connections to be made. And most importantly, leave here prepared to do something with what you learn. You're gonna see this year we were intentionally focused on ensuring that you left here with something that you could take away and utilize right away. And because legacy isn't about what we accumulate, it's about what we contribute. It's the causes we champion, the organizations we support, the doors we open, and the next generation we inspire. And there could not be a more fitting voice to help us begin this conversation. Dr. Andre Perry is a senior fellow and director of Center for Community Uplift at the Brookings Institution and a professor of practice of economics at Washington University and in St. Louis.
DJ, I told DJ put on something to get me hype. Put on that Trigger Man beat. I know y'all appreciate some Trigger Man here. How's everyone doing? Wait, let that rock. Let that ride out. All right. First of all, it's always a pleasure to be in Memphis. First, you got to give a shout out to Veronica and Area. Because let me tell you, the last time I came, my flights were canceled in DC. I had to drive 12 hours straight overnight to get to Memphis. And yesterday, I was about to get on my flight, and they told me my flight was canceled. You know, and I swear Erica and Veronica and Ariel were going to drive down to Atlanta and get me, but luckily we found a way to get here. Special shout out to Bob and Sam for their tireless work. Give them a round of applause as well. We're getting set up here. Now, I want to set the stage a little bit. Every other Sunday, every third Sunday or so, I invite a lot of people to my house. Not a lot, 20-something people to my house, and we have conversations. I'm going to play a video quickly around one of the conversations that inspired the book Black Power Scorecard. Now, I asked my guests some very basic questions. Two basic questions. What is Black Power and what is not Black Power? What is Black Power and what is not Black Power? So I recreated that scene a little bit by inviting my friends back to my house for brunch. And you're gonna get a sense of what we talked about today. So I'm gonna let it go. Here we go.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power. Is
Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power is
Black
black.
power.
Black power is not crabs in a barrel mentality. Black power is not individualistic. Black power is not only celebrity this or professional athlete that.
Black power is not divisiveness.
Black power isn't for sale.
Black power is not trying to be like somebody else.
Black power is not cultural erasure, and it's not something that can be obtained individually.
Black power is not to be clueless. Black power is not to sit on your hands and to keep your mouth shut.
Black power is not individual profit maximization.
Black power is not forcing blackness into a story that was not originally intended for it.
Black power is not some celebrity saying, "Ooh, we're great," or "Ooh, we got all these likes," or "Ooh, we getting all this money," while they get money and never pour into their community. That's what black power is not.
Black power is liberty and justice. It's the ability of black people to define their life on their own terms, to be able to dream and to manifest those dreams.
Black power is a force that connects the hearts and minds of people in the African diaspora across lifetimes and movements.
Black power is loving affirmation of where we've been and visionary pursuit of where we're going. Black power is communal. Black power is spiritual. Black power is ancestral.
It's rooted in the faith that sang in the fields, marched in the streets, and praised in the pews.
Black power is the ability to be your authentic self.
Being proud of the beautiful skin I'm in.
Black joy.
Unity.
Pride.
It's about being exactly who we are.
Black power is rising out of darkness, rising in spite of darkness, transcending negativity, ignorance, and lack.
It's the power that we have inside that they try to diminish, that they know they can't.
It's reaching back to pull up and empower younger generations. Black power is building political power and making greater investments in Black communities to become more self-sustaining.
It is a powerful instrument that we can use to achieve what we want and need, both politically and economically.
Black power is black banks, black broker-dealers, black asset managers, and black capital allocators.
Black power is generational wealth.
Entrepreneurship.
It's connecting black communities to the resources we need to strengthen social determinants of health and thrive at scale.
Black power is to be conscious of who you are. Black power is to understand the struggle of our ancestors and progress forward and not repeat the mistakes of the past.
That is black power.
And so before you get up, we have about 20 copies in the back. We're going to have books of Black Power Scorecard. We're going to figure out a way to get out to you. We might have to make a little contest. Like what do you think the M in Andre M. Perry stands for? Don't look it up. It's Montel, by the way. I got one of the blackest names in America. I'm like Montel Perry. Well, in 2020, we all know what was going on. Black Lives Matter was a slogan even before 2020, obviously. It was somewhat controversial. People said, should it be all lives matter? Black lives matter too. But for me, I saw a research question in the phrase Black Lives Matter. I actually wanted to figure out what matters most for Black life. In particular, I wanted to examine what matters most for thriving. So often we talk about disparity, death, harm. I actually wanted to figure out what are the things that predict for our best lives. By definition, I define Black power as the ability to live out your natural life. Say there was no racism. How long would you live? How long would your community live? And what would it take to build those things in your community to enable people to thrive? Now, in order to do that, you got to get a lot of data, and that's what we did. We went through housing data, consumer finance data, wealth data, FBI data. We wanted to get every kind of indicator possible. to find out what are the most important factors on life itself, life expectancy. Now, we use lasso regression, which is a machine learning algorithm that allows you to sift through thousands upon thousands of variables to see their influence on a dependent variable, which we decided would be life expectancy. Now, we categorize all those variables. We nailed it down to about 13 to say these are the most important factors. We categorize them in wealth, human social capital, environmental quality, family, and safety. But what we did not do, we did not compare black people to white people. Right? We compared black people to black people in other parts of the country. There's a lot of reasons why we should not always compare black people to white people. Right? One, we know there's been a policy difference that should result in different outcomes. You know, for the descendants of the enslaved who were once owned, we have different outcomes as someone who owned people, right? And there's just something wrong with this idea that if you have to act like white people, be like white people, and then there's racial equity. No, we should not replicate the harms that were done to us. Right? So we did not do that. So what you're going to see is a bunch of data. I'm going to break it down to you very simply. What are the most important factors? Now, this conference is about generational wealth. Wealth represents 50% of the variance. I'm going to break this thing down so you don't have to take a statistics course. But it represents about 50% of the reason why people live long or why people do not. Right? Wealth. Basic definition of wealth is everything you own minus your debts. Right? Now here are the three biggest factors at the community level. Now I'm looking at this from a geographic community scale at the county and metropolitan levels. And so it's not about you, it's about everyone in your community. And I'm going to break it down to Memphis specific data. Income, home ownership, business ownership. Now let me break this down. Income is pretty intuitive. The more income in a general area, the more people have discretionary resources to apply to themselves. When you live in areas that have higher incomes, people spend money to improve themselves in general, right? So that's pretty intuitive. Home ownership. Now this is the one that is near and dear to my heart. The reason why I come down to Memphis so often is because I discuss my housing work. Most people know me through my research on housing devaluation, where we found that homes in black neighborhoods are underpriced by 23%, about $48,000 per home, cumulatively to about $156 billion in lost equity in black communities. And I always put that in perspective because people don't really understand $156 billion. $156 billion would have financed more than 4 million black-owned businesses based upon the average amount black people use to start their firms. It would have paid for more than 8 million four-year degrees based upon the average amount of a four-year public education. Replace the pipes in Flint, Michigan 3,000 times over. It's more than double the economic impact of the opioid crisis. Would have covered all of Hurricane Katrina damage. It's a big number, right? And it's one of the reasons why I say, like it keeps my teeth white, that there's nothing wrong with black people that ending racism can't solve. When things go wrong in black communities, we blame black people. We don't look at the wealth that is extracted and taken without anyone wearing a red hat or a white hood. Right? These are everyday practices, but we go along blaming black people. Last time I was here, it was a few weeks after Roland Martin was here, right? And there was a lot of discourse about him blaming black leadership, blaming black people here. And it was completely off base. Now, I cannot tell you how much I've been here dozens of times to see a state legislature, a county, do everything to suppress black wealth and not wanting to deal with the consequences of it. Right? So I just want to be clear that when we talk about these things, we cannot get in the business of blaming us for this. But at the same time, I don't blame people, I blame policy. Right? I don't like getting in the pointing fingers at this person did that, this person did that. I'm more interested on policy. So when we're talking about home ownership, what are the policies that we need to put in place to increase home ownership? Business ownership, another important factor here, and this is surprising because the number of businesses pales in comparison to the number of people who get income that own homes. And so I was surprised here, but what we see is that when you have a higher share of business ownership in place, you have a higher life expectancy. Now, this is why I put a lot of emphasis on commercial corridors. People don't realize this, but 80% of all commercial real estate is owned by 1% of people, right? The problem with that is about 43% of all wealth generated from real estate comes on the commercial side. So we talk about home ownership a lot. We don't talk about commercial real estate. And this is the interesting thing. There are now new mechanisms where communities with as low as $1,000 can now be part owners of commercial real estate development. You see, in Black Power Scorecard, my book that is available wherever you find it. So I highlight Lanier Richardson, who is purchasing Moribund strip malls. And he's getting local community members to invest in these structures, and it is working all across the country. Chicago, Baltimore, you have community members who are now owning property, right? And it's not large dividends. If you put $1,000 in a multi-million-dollar structure, you're not getting, big return, but you are an owner. You have say in the community. You see crime reduce. You see, you get rid of these businesses that are extracting wealth, these, check cashing things. So it's an important structure. Now I'm going to show you what's happening here in Memphis. Now this is black people compared to black people all across the country. Household income in the 50th percentile, right in the middle. Home ownership, you're way high, 74%. Business ownership, you're high. So I remember when Roland Martin came here, I wanted to show him these stats, right? Because there's a lot of good things going on in this, right? Now, and this is another reason why we always can't compare ourselves to white people. When you compare yourselves to other groups, you can lose sense of where you sit relative to other places in the country, and you really diminish the work that is ongoing. It wasn't, 50 years ago, these numbers weren't as robust, right? So we got to continuously show different, I'm always going to show disparity, but if we don't show the gains that we are making, we're doing ourselves a disservice because there are people in this room that are doing good work. And they need to be validated. Now I just want to show you on the business front, if we can get the share of employer firms, that's firms with more than one employee, to match the share of the black population, we would see sizable gains. And this is one thing I would love to see an emphasis being placed on in Memphis. Right now, the number of employer firms, these are firms with more than one employee, around at least 3 years ago, were around 1,600. If we got that to parity with the black population, we would add 15,000 more businesses to Memphis. Right? The number of jobs would increase by 146,000. Revenue in millions. So you're talking about $130 billion. Payroll would increase by tenfold, right? So you take the strength that you currently have. You have businesses. It's time to scale them. Amen. right? It's time to scale it. Now I'm going to go quickly now. Human social capital. You have share of Black immigrants. That's one of the number one predictors of life expectancy. When you have a lot of Black immigrants in your area, it increases life expectancy. Some of that is because Black immigrants in general are healthier and wealthier in the places they left and the places they land, right? But one thing that's phenomenal, if the wealth differences aren't that great, you see African Americans who are proximate to immigrants, their life expectancy is higher. But here's the kicker. With every passing generation, life expectancy for immigrants dissipates, which tells you racism is bad for your health, right? For real. And so, but there's always this debate between African Americans, West Indians, Africans, both East, West, South Africa. The reality is we are better together.
That's right.
Right? We are better together. We need to have that kind of narrative. Primary, secondary school, higher educational attainment. I know everyone should be aware that in general, you know better, you do better around health. But here's the other thing. Educational institutions are also economic anchors. It's not just about what you teach, it's about who you hire, who you contract with. You know, I can go to any university, they might be teaching a lot of good stuff, but you look at the procurement process, they're not hiring any Black business service providers, right? They're not hiring faculty. They're not hiring students once they graduate. That's another, these are educational institutions are economic anchors. We saw distance from your friends. So we actually got Facebook data. We saw that the distance of Facebook friends, the greater the distance, the higher the life expectancy. Now that's what it shows you is it's a proxy for economic mobility. If you have friends that are far away, generally means you have you've been to college, you've worked in different places, and so it's a proxy for economic mobility. Now here's where I know some of you are ready to come at me when I say this initially. Don't throw your Bibles at me. The greater the share of religious membership, the lower the life expectancy. It's a negative. Somebody say, "Oh Lord." Oh Lord. Brother. But look, you know, but I want to be clear. I want to be, because I know y'all, some of y'all got this Philistine up here. Heathen. Let me explain. Sister got her Bible out real quick. Leviticus. Church goers are more likely to be obese. That is true. And if you say, Jesus, take the wheel for everything, that's probably not good for your own sense of agency. But what is really happening here, we do see that when you have higher levels of church membership, you have lower levels of public and private investment. Churches are picking up the slack, right? So people are going into church suffering. And that's why it gets picked up. So that's what's generally going on, right? You see churches picking up the slack when public and private government and private industry should be investing in those places, right? Now, while I say all that, I don't let my pastors off the hook, because churches should use their tax advantage status to buy commercial real estate. To purchase housing, right? Not just for their congregants. Churches are the default community development organizations in their communities, right? They've always had them. We just need to make a more concerted effort to build wealth for the community, not just for the congregation, right? Let's show some data. Low on Black immigrants, low on K-12 education. That's That's the one weak spot here. All right, we gotta improve that. Higher education right in the middle of the road. Low economic mobility, very religious, right? Very religious, which tells me that, you know, church communities are probably under attack here, right? Because that's another way to look at it. Let's go on, because I want to get to a few questions. Environmental quality, no surprise here. Air pollution and population density. Air pollution makes sense when your air quality is low, you have lower life expectancy. Density was confusing, but most times when you have dense places, you have greater educational and economic opportunities, more jobs, more educational opportunities. So that was confusing for me. But what that tells me is that if you're for black people, dense places might mean there's greater discrimination in dense places. There are a lot of rural communities that have better outcomes than urban places. So let's look at the data. So air quality is not that great, and it's a dense place relative to other places. Family, children without father present, one of the biggest negative correlates. And again, I do not shy away from somewhat controversial areas, but this is not all that controversial for me, largely because we know the data also tells us that black men spend as much time with their children as other men, pretty much the same, but they're twice as likely not to live with a child, which cuts into one of the most important factors, which is income, right? And also, the data is also clear, and I make this point in the chapter in Black Power Scorecard, that when you control for wealth, when you look at people with wealth, marriage is not an issue. And I'm not endorsing marriage, but it's not an issue. So what that tells me is that we shouldn't be asking people to get married to get out of poverty. We should be saying, in order to get more healthy relationships, build stronger communities. Strong communities produce stronger relationships, not the other way around, right? I was on lots of podcasts talking about this, people talking about what black men or black women aren't bringing to the table. These are nonsensical conversations, right? When you have people not going to prison, strong schools, people with jobs, marriage is not a problem, right? You see it in community after community. So we just need to get that in our heads, that build communities, relationships will come, right? 75th percentile, so it's high here. And then last but not least, safety, biking, walkable neighborhoods are good. And gun violence is bad, right? It is the #1 reduction in life expectancy. No surprise here that if your average life expectancy is 74 and people are dying at 25, the mean is just going to drop, right? And so no surprise here. But what is also happening, there's a shock that happens in neighborhoods. We talk about allostatic load in the medical community, in that it's the response to stress on the individual body, but there's an allostatic load in the community that happens that we need to be aware. When someone gets killed, it sends shock waves through the community. Let's see, 6th percentile, so it's not a very walkable neighborhood, Memphis, and our community. Gun violence is high. That's reduced some. But it's still an issue. Yeah, it's a problem. So we got to work on that. And this is the thing. We also know that jailing people is not a solution. Because what does it do? It cuts into income. You're literally lifting people out of communities, right? So the trick is you got to figure out a way to, I go to communities all over the country. There's always auntie and grandma who will say, but I need somebody to get little Jamal off the street. And that's true. But jailing is not a solution either.
Y'all, woohoo! He was cooking, wasn't it? But I had to get up, y'all. I had to go and do some more of the classes. But let me let y'all know a little bit about Mr. Perry, Dr. Perry. Andre M. Perry is a senior fellow and director of the Center for Community Uplift at the Brookings Institution. He is also a professor of practice of economics at Washington University in St. Louis, a nationally known and respected commentator on race, structural inequality, and education. Perry is the author of the book Black Power Scorecard. Y'all see it. Black Power Scorecard, measuring the racial gap and what we can do to close it. Published by Metropolitan Books in April 2025. Brookings Press published Perry's previous book, Know Your Value, Valuing Black Lives and Property in America's Black Cities in 2020. He's a dope brother. I enjoyed every minute of his speech, and I'm just proud to be in the presence of so much Black excellence. Y'all, this whole event was just beautiful. And it is just exemplified what we can do when we come together as a people and handle business out here in these streets. Okay, now let me give y'all a little backstory on the Powered by Us Symposium. It's an annual event in Memphis, and it's focused on real strategies for building Black generational wealth, home ownership, investing, and community legacy. Hosted by partners including Community Foundations of Greater Memphis and KQ Communications. It's a full day of events that bring together local leaders and experts. Now, this event focus areas are building Black generational wealth, home ownership and retirement planning, collective giving and community care, wealth, opportunity, and access. I'm telling y'all, I'm just glad that I registered to go. This was the second year of them doing this, and I enjoyed every minute of it. These folks who you see on the stage in the middle is A.W. Willis III. Y'all, charge it to my head and not my heart. I did not know A.W. Willis was a Black man, so I had to do my research, and that brother was a bad man, and the third ain't far behind. I'm telling y'all, it was just beautiful. I stick my chest out, and I'm even more proud because I drive down A.W. Willis every day coming home. So I'm just proud of this family. I'm proud of everyone who was in the room, who got that information, and everyone who's taking that information and executing what we're supposed to be executing. Powered by Us. It was an amazing event, and I hope you guys got some from it. Thanks so much for joining us. Grinding for my moment behind the scenes. You better know it. You better believe it. You better not doubt it.